Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna. Dear devotees, and pranams to all of you. Thank you all very much for joining in today our study session. So we'll start with the prayers. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Dharine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaur Dushe Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim Yat kripatamaham mande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ishwaram Harihi Om Tatsat Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Taraliye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Hare Krishna. So thank you all very much for joining in. We are continuing to read from chapter number 15 of the Bhagavad Gita. So we saw in the first couple of verses about what should be the consciousness of a person who is trying to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? Who are such people? Such people are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association. They understand the eternal, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they are freed from the dualities of being happy and being distressed, and they surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? That's what we studied. Nirmana moha jitashanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinivrakta kamaha dvandve vimukta sukha dukkha samyer gacchantya mudha padam avyayam. That padam avyayam, that means they will understand and reach that particular eternal situation, that eternal kingdom of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Who are such people? Nirmana moha jita sanga dosha. Nirmana means one who does not have false prestige. Jita sanga dosha, that means one who has conquered bad association or seeing faults in others. Right? Adhyatma nitya vinivrakta kamaha. Right? One who is disassociated with kama, or one who is above the lusty tendencies that arise in the heart. Dvandve vimuktaha. Vimuktaha means liberated from the dualities. Dvandve vimuktaha. Sukha dukkha samyaya. That means what are the two dualities? Either one can be happy or one can be distressed. But when one is equipoised in both the situations, gachanti. Gachanti means to reach. Gachantya modaha padam avyayam tat. That means that person who is not bewildered by the dualities of happiness and distress, who is free from lust, who acquires spiritual knowledge, who is without nirmana. That means who is without false prestige, without moha, without illusion, such a person can reach the eternal kingdom of God. And then we saw Natat Bhashyate Ishwaryu na Shashanko na Pavaka. So who can reach Golok Vrindavan Dham? One who is Nirmana Moha, one who is free from false prestige, one who is free from illusion, right? One who serves the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one who surrenders to the Lord, is able to go to that spiritual world. And something about the spiritual world, there is no need for electricity or light in the spiritual world. What is that? Natat Bhashyate Ishwaryo. There's no need for a sun. Na Shashanko na Pavaka. There's no need for a moon. Yad Gatvan Nivartante. Right? When one reaches there, Tadhama Parama Mama. Yad Gatva na Nivartante. Na Nivartante means they will not come back to this material world. That supreme board of mind does not require a sun or a moon or a fire or electricity. Pavakaha means electricity. Right? Yad Gatva na Nivartante Tadhama Parama Mama. Anyone who reaches my supreme abode will not return back to this material world. So with that context, let us continue reading from 15.7. Let me share my screen. Devotees can raise your hands and then we'll quickly go ahead and start from 15.7. Okay, 15.7. Okay, who's reading? Okay, Rajneesh Prabhu, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Dandavat.
Mamevansho Jivaloke Jivabhuta Sanatana Manushrasthani Indriyani Prakriti Stani Parstiti. Synonym: Mama, my, Shiva, certainly, Amshaha, fragmental particle, Jivaloke, in the world of conditional life, Jiva Bhuta, the conditioned living entity, Sanatana, eternal, Manha, with the mind, Sasthani, the six Indriyani, senses, Prakriti, in material nature, Sathani, situated, Parasti, is struggling hard. Translation and purport by Sri Prabhupada Ji ki Jai. The living entities in the conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. Purport: in this verse, the identity of living being is clearly given. The living entity is the fragmental part and parcel of the Supreme Lord eternally. It is not that he assumes individuality in his conditional life and in his liberated state becomes one with the Supreme Lord. He is eternally fragmented. It is clearly said, Sanatana. According to Vedic version, the Supreme Lord manifests and expands himself in innumerable expansions, of which the primary expansions are called are
Vishnu Tattva. Hare Krishna. Prabhu, you're not audible.
according. It is clearly said, Sanatana, according to Vedic version, the Supreme Lord manifests and expands himself in innumerable expansions, of which the primary expansions are called Vishnu Tattva, and the secondary expansions are called living entities. In other words, Vishnu Tattva is the personal expansion, and the living entities are the separated expansions. By his personal expansion, he is manifested in various forms like Lord Rama, Narsinghdev, Vishnu Murti, and all the predominating deities in the Vaikuntha planet. The separated expansions, the living entities, are eternally servitors. The personal expansions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the individual identities of Godhead, are always present. Similarly, the separated expansions of living entities have their identities as fragmental parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord. The living entities also have their entities
Fragmental portions.
as fragmented parts and parcels of Supreme Lord. The living entities are also fragmental portions of his qualities, of which the independence is one. Every living entity as an individual soul has his personal individuality and a minute
Minute
form
form of independence.
and a minute form of independence. By misuse of that independence, one becomes a conditioned soul, and by proper use of independence, he is always liberated. In either case, he is qualitatively eternal, as the Supreme Lord is. In his liberated state, he is freed from this material condition, and he is under the engagement of transcendental service unto the Lord. In his conditioned life, he is dominated by the material modes of nature, and he forgets the transcendental loving service of the Lord. As a result, he has to struggle very hard to maintain his existence in the material world. The living entities, not only human beings and the cats and dogs, but even the greater controllers of the material world, Brahma, Lord Shiva, and then Vishnu, are all parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord. They are all eternal, not temporary manifestations. The word thirsty, struggling, or grappling hard is very significant. The conditioned soul is bound up as though shackled by iron chains. He is bound up by the false ego, and the mind is the chief agent which is driving him in material existence. In this material existence, when the mind is in the mode of goodness, his activities are good. When the mind is in the mode of passion, his activities are troublesome. And when the mind is in the mode of ignorance, he travels in the lower species of life. It is clear, however, in this verse that conditioned soul is covered by the material body with the mind and senses. And when he is liberated, this material covering perishes, but his spiritual body manifests itself in its individual capacity. The following information is there in the Madhyan,
Madhyandinaya Shruti.
Madhyan Din- Madhyandanyan Satuti. Tha va
Savaish
ita.
Brahmanishtamidam Shairam Martyam Atisrijya Brahma Sampadya Brahmana Apashyati Brahmana Shrunoti Brahmanaivedam Sarvam Anubhavati.
It is stated here that when a living entity gives up the material embodiment and enters into the spiritual world, he revives his spiritual body, and in his spiritual body he can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. He can hear and speak to him face to face, and he can understand the Supreme Personality as he is. From Samruti, from Samruti, also it is understood Vasanti, Vasanti Yatra, Vasanti Yatra, Pursha, Sarve Vaikuntha Murtvaha. In these spiritual planets, every everyone lives in bodies featured like the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As far as the bodily construction is concerned, there is no difference between the part and parcel living entities and the expansions of Vishnu Murti. In other words, at liberation, the living entity gets a spiritual body by the grace of Supreme Personality of Godhead. The verse Mame Vansho Mahamantra, fragmental parts and parcels of Supreme Lord are also very significant. The fragmental portion of the Supreme Lord is not like some material broken part. We have already understood in the second chapter that spirit cannot be cut into pieces. This fragment, this fragment is not materially conceived. It is not like matter, which can be cut into pieces and joined together again. That conception is not applicable here because the Sanskrit word sanatana, eternal, is used. The fragmental portion is eternal. It is also stated in the beginning of second chapter that in each and every individual body, the fragmental portion of Supreme Lord is present. Dehino smin, dehino smin yasa dehe. The fragmental portion, when liberated from the bodily entanglement, revives its original spiritual body in the spiritual sky, in spiritual planet, and enjoys association with the Supreme Lord. It is, however, understood here that the living entity, being the fragmental part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, is qualitatively one with the Lord, just as the parts and parcels of the gold are gold. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. So, Najayate Mriyate Va Kadachin Nayam Bhutva Bhavita Vana Bhuyaha Ajo Nitya Shashvatoyam Purano Na Hanyate Hanyamani Sharire. So, Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, Na Jayate Mriyate Va Kadachin. Right? The soul never comes into life, nor can the soul ever die. Na Jayate Mriyate Va Kadachin Nayam Bhutva Bhavita Vana Bhuyaha. The soul did not come into existence, it does not come into existence, it will never come into existence. Ajo Nityaha Shashvatoyam Purano. Why? Because the soul is eternal. Shashvata. And from time immemorial, the soul is existing. Ajo Nitya Shashvatoyam Purano. Na Hanyate Hanyamani Sharire. It means when the body dies, the soul does not die. There is no birth or death for the soul. So that is what is explained by Lord Sri Krishna. And Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, in this particular word, in verse purport, Prabhupada is quoting, Tehinosmin yata dehe kaumaram yavanam jara, tata deha antara praptir dhiras tatra muyati. Right? So, just as in the same body, we go through various changes. Like that, at the end of, when we have to give up this body, that means that the body has become old, the body has become weak, right? Then one gets a rejuvenated, a new body, right? And that change from one body to another is what is called as death, right? And a sober person is not bewildered by such a change. We didn't get bewildered. We didn't feel sad when we're moving from being a child to to a teenager or to an adult or getting old, right? Of course, getting old, we feel, oh my God, I'm losing my energy, my health is failing, right? My health is deteriorating, etc. But we see that there are all changes that are happening in the same body, but we don't cry over it that this change is happening. Then why do we lament at the time when the soul passes into a new body, right? A sober person who understands this does not overly become sad at this change. Of course, whenever near or dear ones, right, they leave the body, then of course we feel separation from them, right? Because they have enabled us to remember Krishna. We've had so many nice discussions about Krishna. Now that person is no longer in our sight. We are missing their association, and that is why a devotee feels sad. But the devotee does not give up his duty on any circumstance, right? Whatever happens, a devotee continues to perform his duty, right? Knowing well that this is another change and this has been sanctioned by the Lord, isn't it? Mamaivamshu Jiva Loki Jiva Bhuta Sanat. We are parts and parcels of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prabhupada explained in one lecture how a part of the machine, as long as it's connected to the machine, it has a value. It has some use. Otherwise, if it is broken from the machine, then what happens? Does it have any value? Does not have any value. Similarly, the hand, as long as it is attached to the body, I can use this hand to eat. I can use this hand to hold an object, to pick up something, to keep something, etc. But when this hand gets cut off due to some reason, then what to use is the hand, right? The hand still remains the same, 5 fingers, there is a palm and everything. But as long as this hand is attached to the body, there is some use of the hand. Similarly, we are parts and parcels of the Lord. As long as we are connected to the Lord in terms of rendering devotional service, as long as you're not acting independently, then there is some value to the human form of life that we've got, right? As long as we are continuously in this bodily entanglement, and what happens? Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi continuously happens, right? The soul is part and parcel of the Lord, and according to our desires, what we have cultivated, we could acquire any body as per the 28.4 million species of life. Jaladana Lakshani, Savar Lakshmishati, Kramayo Rudra Sankhyankaha, Pakshinam Dashalakshana, Trimshal Lakshani Pashavaha, Chatur Lakshani Manushaha, right? Trimshal Lakshani, 30 lakhs of four-legged species, right? Pashavaha, right? Animals, and Chatur Lakshani Manusha, and 4 lakh species amongst human beings, not 4 lakh human beings, 4 lakh varieties of even in the human form, right? According to according to our desires, according to our karmas, according to our sinful reactions, according to our desires, according to our previous activities, we will attract that particular body, which is all the 8.4 million species that are existing. But our soul will take a body according to the desires that have been cultivated in the mind, cultivated through the thinking, feeling, and willing. That is a function of the subtle body, which is the mind, intelligence, and false ego. Whatever we've always thought of, whatever we are willing, whatever we are feeling at the time of death, according to that, we will get another body at the time of death. Let's move ahead. Text number 8, 15.8. Okay, who will read? Sridhar Prabhu, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Tandot Pranam Machati.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Tandot Pranam.
Jai Baldev, Hare Krishna. Shariram yet avapnodi yaccha abhiukramad ishvaraha grihitva etani samyadi vayugandhan iva ashayat. Hare Krishna. Synonymous. Sariram, the body, yet as avapnodi, gets, yet as cha abhi, also ukramadi, gives up ishvaraha, the Lord of body, grihitva, taking, edani, all this, samayadi, goes away, vayu, the air, gandhan, the small, iva, like ashyat, for their sources. Hare Krishna. Translation. The living entity in the material world carries his different conception of life from one body to another, as the air carries aromas. Thus, he takes one kind of body and again quits into the take another. Purport by Prabhupada ki jai. Here, the living entity is described as Ishvara, the controller of his own body. If he likes, he can change his body to a higher grade. And if he likes, he can move to the lower class. Minutes, the independence is there.
Minute
independence is there. The change his body undergoes depends upon him. All the time of death, the consciousness he has created will carry him on the next type of body. If he has made his consciousness like that of a cat or dog, he is sure to change to a cat's or dog's body. And if he has fixed his consciousness of godly qualities, he will change into form of a demigod. And if he is the Krishna consciousness, he will be transferred to Krishna Loka in the spiritual world and will associate with Krishna. It is a false claim that after the annihilations of this body, everything is finished. The individual soul is transmigrating from one body to another, and his present body and the present activities are the background of his next body. Once gets a different body according to karma, and he has to quit this body is in due course. It is stated here that the subtle body which carries the consumption of the next body develops another body in the next life. The process of transmigration from one body to another and struggling while in the body is called karsati, or struggle for existence. Hare Krishna. Dandot Pranam Mataji.
Thank you. So here it's very beautifully explained by Prabhupada. The Lord does not interfere with our free will, right? We decide what we want to do. I am the Ishvara. I am a mini Ishvara, right? I only have a control of what I want to do with my body, right? I want to sit here and attend this Bhagavad Gita class, or I want to watch TV, or I want to watch some serial, I want to watch some cricket match, or I want to sleep. It is up to me what I want to do. So I am the master of my body, but I don't even have a full control, right? Because only when the sanction of the Lord is there, I can get up also from this place, or I can open my mouth and speak, right? So we are minute controllers. We have minute independence, and how we utilize that minute independence determines our future destination. Right? If I spend my time thinking about the Lord, always thinking about how I can serve the Lord, what bhoga can I offer the Lord, and how can I dress the deities, when can I do the arati, how should I do the arati, what should I cook for the Lord. So in this way, when Krishna is in the center of my life, then whatever time I may leave the body, I will always remember Krishna. So I am utilizing my minute independence in a proper way. But if a person has a dog, right, he is running behind the dog, he is walking behind the dog, he has to clean the potty of the dog, etc., etc. So his whole consciousness situated on the dog, that most likely when he dies, he'll be thinking only about the dog. So he will ensure that he gets a dog's body the next life. Recently in Radhishyam Prabhu's class, he was mentioning how one dog was doing wonderful mathematics. Right? Somebody was asking, 3 plus 3, and the dog is barking 6 times. And when somebody is asking, what is 4 plus 6? The dog is barking 10 times. Even subtraction, the dog knows. 10 minus 5, the dog is barking 5 times. And he's conducted a proper research also. He went and checked. Can dogs be trained in such mathematics? There is no institute that can train dogs. But to do such complicated addition, subtraction, etc., very clearly, that person would have been a human being. But being so addicted to looking at the dog, talking to the dog, running behind the dog, and cleaning the dog, right? He's developed a dog consciousness, and hence he must have become a dog. That is the reason, due to some reason, he is also remembering mathematics and everything. What is the use, right? He's become a dog in the next life because he's made his consciousness like that. We should be very, very alert. We should be very, very careful where our mind is going. Yad yad nishalati tat tat eveta rojana, right? Wherever the mind goes, wherever the mind wanders, bring it back to thinking about Krishna. Bring it back to the chanting of the holy name. Otherwise, in the process of transmigration, we will definitely get a body that we've continuously being focused on throughout our life, right? And this life is a karshati, struggling. It's a big struggle, right? Sometimes we may not have misery, but that does not mean there is happiness. In this world, there is no happiness. This world is a dukkhalayam. And when dukkha is temporarily removed, we think that that particular position is sukha. That is not sukha. That is only absence of dukkha. The absence of dukkha, we call it as sukha, right? But it is simply the absence of distress, right? So in order to get out of this world which is full of karshati, which is full of struggle, what we have to do? We have to always remember Krishna. Never forget Krishna throughout as we are living, so that at the time of death, we can remember Krishna and go back home, back to Godhead. All right, let's move ahead. Text number 9. All right, Sindhu Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, pranams Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranam.
Pranams, sloka 8, right? Yeah.
9.
Sloka 9. Sloka 9. Hare Bol. Strotram chakshushu sparshanam cha rashanam granam cha adhishtaya manaschayam vishayan upasevate. Synonyms: Sotram, ears; Chakshushu, eyes; Sparshanam, touch; Cha, also; Rasanam, tongue; Granam, smelling power; Eva, also; Cha, and Adhishtaya, being situated in; Manaha, mind; Cha, also; Ayam, he; Vishayan, sense objects; Upashevate, enjoys. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtains a certain type of ear, eye, tongue, nose, and sense of touch, which are grouped about the mind. He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects. Purport. In other words, if the living entity adulterates his consciousness with the qualities of cats and dogs, in his next life, he gets a cat or a dog body and enjoys. Consciousness is originally pure like water. But if we mix water with a certain color, it changes. Similarly, consciousness is pure, for the spirit soul is pure. But consciousness is changed according to the association of the material qualities. Real consciousness is Krishna consciousness. When therefore one is situated in Krishna consciousness, he is in his pure life. But if his consciousness is adulterated by some type of material mentality, in the next life he gets a corresponding body. He does not necessarily get a human body again. He can get the body of a cat, dog, hog, demigod, or one of many other forms, because there are 84 lakh species. Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah, thank you. So our consciousness is pure, right? It is not that it's not that we are our soul is polluted. No, we have only added layerings on top of our soul, right? Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, right? So this is this covering that we've created, right? And that is caused due to association with matter, right? Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsam Sangas Teshu Bhajayate. Sangat Sanjayate Kamaha. That means when we associate ourselves with matter, when we want to attain all these material objects, then we develop an attachment for them. From attachment comes dhyayato, right? When we are contemplating on an object, I want this, I want this. Then what happens? The desire leads to attachment to a particular object. And that is kama. Kama means lust. Kama means a desire to enjoy an object. Right? Kama krodot vijayate. Most of the times when we desire something, we will not get it. And then what happens? Oh, why am I not getting it? Why me? Right? The victim mentality comes and then we become angry. Right? I am so much attached to this. I want to get this. I've worked so hard for it. Why is it that I'm not getting? Right? So contemplation on the material objects gives rise to lust. And unfulfilled lust leads to anger. But if lust is fulfilled, will it be a satisfying experience? No. Even when lust is fulfilled, we want more and more and more. Ye dil mange more all the time, right? So lust also, even when it is satisfied, it cannot give us satisfaction because we want more and more. So satisfied lust will lead to greed. I want more. I'm still not happy because I want more. Unsatisfied lust, that means when my desire is not fulfilled, it leads to anger. It leads to krodha, right? Let's move ahead. Text number 10. Okay, Karpavalli Mataji. Go ahead, Mataji. Text number 10.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Mataji. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, Mataji.
Text number 10. Utkaramantam stidam vapi gunjanam va gunanvidam vimudananu pasyanti jnana chakshusha. Synonyms, translation, purport with Prabhupada Kiji. Ukramantam, quitting the body, stitam, situated in the body, va api, either, bunjanam, enjoying, va or, guna or anvitam, under the spell of the modes of material nature, vimudaha, foolish persons, na, never, anupasanti, can see, jnana chakshusha, those who have the eyes of knowledge. Translation, the foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body, nor can they understand what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of the modes of nature. But one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this. Purport. The word jnana chakshusha is very significant. Without knowledge, one cannot understand how a living entity leaves his present body, nor what form of body he is going to take in the next life, nor even why he is living in a particular type of body. This requires a great amount of knowledge understood from Bhagavad Gita and similar literatures heard from a bona fide spiritual master. One who is trained to perceive all these things is fortunate. Every living entity is quitting his body under certain circumstances. He is living under certain circumstances and he is enjoying under certain circumstances under the spell of material nature. As a result, he is suffering different kinds of happiness and distress under the illusion of sense enjoyment. Persons who are everlastingly fooled by lust and desire lose all power to understand their nature of body and their stay in a particular body. They cannot comprehend it. Those who have developed spiritual knowledge, however, can see that the spirit is different from the body and is changing its body and enjoying in different ways. A person in such knowledge can understand how the conditioned living entity is suffering in this material existence. Therefore, those who are highly developed in Krishna consciousness try their best to give this knowledge to the people in general, for their conditioned life is very much troublesome. They should come out of it and be Krishna conscious and liberate themselves to transfer to the spiritual world. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam. So here we are seeing a very, very important point Prabhupada is making, that while pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. In this world is a dukhalayam, right? So we will experience pain in this world. However, suffering is optional, depending on what our consciousness is, right? Either we will be bewildered by the activities of this material world, or we will be bewildered by the troubles that are caused in this material world, or by the dualities, happiness and distress, that are continuously happening to us in this material world, or we will remain transcendental. That means what? Happiness may come, distress may come, happiness will go, distress will also go. Just like we don't pray for distress, we don't pray for misery, but nonetheless, misery comes. Unhappiness situations come, isn't it? So similarly, we don't even have to pray for happiness, right? According to our the reactions of our karma, we will get happiness, we will get distress. When the distress leaves, that means when we are feeling very miserable, and some or the other, something happens, right? For example, I'm having severe headache, right? I take one tablet, the headache is gone, and then what do I think? Oh, I'm very happy. But is that happiness? No, it is just absence of a distress. Some distressful situation has passed, and I feel this is only happiness, right? So that is why we associate our happiness and distress with this body, which is ever changing. The body itself is perishable, right? How things associated with this body can be permanent. So why should we be so much bothered about the changes of this body, the changes or the happenings of distress, or what we perceive as distress or happiness because of the bodily changes, right? We know that I am the spirit soul, and as long as I'm engaged in the service of the Lord, I am going to be happy eternally. Even if I'm not currently in this body, I'm not happy. Then also, if I engage in devotional service, I'm going to land myself in a better destination, from where I'm going to progress in my Krishna Bhakti, in my devotional service, right? In whatever form of body we have to suffer, we have to suffer, and we have to enjoy, right? If I have a pig's body, the pig also thinks that I'm enjoying, right? When the pig eats the stool, it's such a miserable condition of life, right? Roaming in that dirty waters, and the whole body is filled with filth, and it's eating stool. Yet the pig also thinks I am enjoying myself, right? That's why once we are subjected to three modes of material nature, according to the body that we acquire, we get so used to it, we get so adjusted to it, that we try to enjoy every species that we are, right? Because unless somebody remembers, right? Oh, I'm a pig, right? Like our Jada Bharata, our Bharat Maharaj, when he got attached to a deer, he was a great devotee of the Lord. He was in Bhava stage, yet he got attached to a deer. And then what happened? He became a deer in his next life, right? But Krishna tells, Kaunteya pratijani name bhakta pranashyati. My devotee will never perish. Then how is it that a great devotee like Bharat Maharaj, he became a deer, right? Krishna gave him the remembrance. In this deer body itself, he was able to remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When he gave up the deer body, he became Jada Bharata. He was filled with transcendental knowledge, right? That he did not want to talk to anybody. The only time he spoke was to King Rahuguna to give him transcendental knowledge, right? So even if it apparently seems, oh, a great devotee became a deer, but the Lord has taken care of the deer to ensure that the deer remembered. And immediately after the body of the deer, he immediately became Jada Bharata, and he perfected his life in this form as Jada Bharata, right? So this teaches 2-3 lessons for us, right? One is, if we commit aparadha, or even at the stage of bhava, there is the aparadha tingens that is left, and then one may fall down even from the stage of bhava, right? One cannot fall down when one attains Krishna prema. Even from bhava stage, it is okay. I mean, it is a possibility to fall down. Hence, we have to be very careful not to commit any aparadha, right? Secondly, even if we cause some kind of trouble for ourselves because of our mistake or our offense or our aparadha, the Lord is so merciful. Even the Lord comes as Paramatma, even in the body of a pig, the Lord comes to guide, right? But even if a pure devotee, even if it is subject to becoming an animal like that of Bharat Maharaj, he became a deer, although he was a very, very great devotee of the Lord. The Lord personally, Matha Smritir Jnanam Apohanam Cha, the Lord gave him the knowledge, the remembrance, what he was in the previous lifetime, that he was so careful in the body of Jada Bharata. He used to stand like a scarecrow. Everybody will laugh at him, tease him. used to be not be bothered because he knew I'm not this body, right? I don't want to get attracted to anything in this world and land myself again in the body of a a man or a woman or any of the 8.4 million species. I simply want to focus on my devotional service. And when he met Raghuguna, right, a king is supposed to be the representative of the entire, the administrator of the entire world. So he thought, if I teach this king about transcendental knowledge, devotional service, then the king will ensure that it is disseminated to his entire kingdom. So the only time he speaks is only this giving this transcendental knowledge to Raghuguna. So that is the protection that the Lord always gives his devotees. All right. So let's move ahead. Text number 11. Okay, Shruti Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Yatanto yoginaschainam pashyanyatmani avasthitam yatantopi akritatmano nainam pashyanti achetasa. Translation. Okay. Synonyms. Yatanta, endeavoring, yogina, transcendentalist, cha, also, enam, this, pashyanti, can see, atmani, in the self, avishtitam, situated, yatanta, endeavoring, api, although, akrita atmana, those without self-realization, na, do not, enam, this, pashyanti, see, achetasa, having undeveloped minds. Translation. The endeavoring transcendentalists who are situated in self-realization can see all this clearly, but those whose minds are not developed and who are not situated in self-realization cannot see what is taking place, though they may try. Purport. There are many transcendentalists on the path of spiritual self-realization, but one who is not situated in self-realization cannot see how things are changing in the body of the living entity. The word yogina is significant in this connection. In the present day, there are many so-called yogis and there are many so-called associations of yogis, but they are all actually blind in the matter of self-realization. They are simply addicted to some sort of gymnastic exercise and are satisfied if the body is well built and healthy. They have no other information. They are called yatantopi akritamana. Even though they are endeavoring in a so-called yoga system, they are not self-realized. Such people cannot understand the process of the transmigration of the soul. Only those who are actually in the yoga system and have realized the self, the world, and the Supreme Lord, in other words, the Bhakti yogis, those engaged in pure devotional service in Krishna consciousness, can understand how things are taking place. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So very wonderful. Yoginaha. Right? So many yogis, right? They're like, we have an association of chartered accountants, we have an association of the doctors, we have an association of lawyers, right? In this way, people come together to pursue a certain purpose, right? To get to know what is the advancement that is happening in their particular area or field. So what happens? People come together for a purpose. Similarly, yogis also come together if they want to attain some siddhi, right? Or maybe some yogis can expand themselves into 8 forms. Some of them can become bigger than the biggest. Some of them can become smaller than the smallest. Some of them can become heavier than the heaviest. Some of them can become lighter than the lightest. All these siddhis can be obtained simply by performing Ashtanga Yoga, because that is also very wonderful. It is very difficult in this age of Kali to sit down like this in meditation and to focus on the tip of the nose, right? We are not able to even chanting Hare Krishna, sometimes we sleep off. Yeah, what to talk of closing the eyes and not even saying anything. That's why Prabhupada told us, chant very loudly, right? When we are chanting loudly and we are hearing the Mahamantra, at least we will not go to sleep, right? We will be able to focus on chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But then these yogis are so much in advanced stage that they're able to control their mind, they're able to think of meditate on the tip of the nose, etc., etc. And they also don't close their eyes fully. They keep their eyes little open and they focus on the tip of the nose. In this way, these yogis, they get all these powers. They become bigger than the biggest, smaller than the smallest, lighter than the lightest, heavier than the heaviest, etc. But with the death, what happens when the body dies? These are all material things. What is happening is that the body, they are able to make it heavy, they make it light, get some powder, get some coins, etc. But when the body dies, it is not that these yogis will go with them. Then again they will be born as a yogi. No, they may be born as a yogi, but they have to again the ABCD, then twinkle twinkle little star, then again they have to go to school. And maybe they may be inclined to performing yoga and they will continue this yogic process until somebody comes and gives a Prabhupada's book or somebody gives him a Japa mala, right? Chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. When it comes to Bhakti Yoga, then Krishna says, Niha Vikramana Shosti. प्रत्यवायो न विद्यते स्वल्पमपि यस्य धर्मस्य त्रायते महतो भयात् नेहा विक्रम नाशो अस्ति. That means there is no diminution or loss in the path of bhakti. If I perform bhakti but I could not perfect my life, I reach 99%, then I will have only 1% to complete. I may be born in a family of devotees where I start my life in a devotee's home, hearing, like Prabhupada tells in Prabhupada Lilamrita, when I used to wake up and hear the ding, ding, ding bell, my father, Gaur Mohanty, is already worshipping the deities in the morning as soon as I get up, right? So in that way, we will get birth in a pure devotee's family and we will quickly perfect our life, right? That is possible only for Bhakti Yoga. Whereas Ashtanga yogis and other yogis will be very advanced in terms of controlling their body, in terms of complete austerity, right? They may even live on air, right? They may live on air, they may live on water, like that. They may perform austerities for many years. But such kind of austerity will not continue at that level. It will not continue in their next life. In their next life, of course, they will be inclined towards it because they've been practicing it for so long. They may be getting it very easily, but there is no promise that such a person will start, if he will be attained dhyana, dharana or something, then he will continue from dharana. There is no mention. But Krishna mentions for Bhakti Yoga that neha vikram nasho. There is no loss or diminution in this path. And one continues from where one left in this lifetime, in this body, when he acquires the next body. And the best thing is, if one practices Bhakti Yoga very seriously under the guidance of bona fide spiritual master, one always remembers Krishna, never forgets Krishna throughout the life, then 100% Krishna will enable this particular devotee to remember him at the time of death. And in this way, Antakale chamamiva smaran muktva kalevaram yaprayati samadbhavam yati nati antra samshayah. Krishna says there is no doubt that such a person will definitely come back to me, right? So in this way, there is this beautiful declaration by Lord Sri Krishna that Bhakti Yoga is the best. There is no loss or diminution in the path of Bhakti. So, and he also tells in 6th chapter itself, he's concluded, Yoginam api sarvesham madgaten antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam sami yuktatamo mataha. The best of all the yogis, Krishna himself declares, 6.47, Yoginam api sarvesham madgaten antaratmana. One who always thinks of me is the best yogi. And such a person is always a friend to me and I am a friend to him, right? So in this way, we understand that always remembering Krishna, never forgetting Krishna should be the goal of our life, right? And Balaram, right? He serves Krishna in all the 5 capacities, in all the 5 rasas, as Dasya, as in Shanta Rasa, he expands into the ornaments of Krishna, he expands into the Vrindavan Dham, he expands into the trees of Vrindavan, right? Into everything that is actually giving pleasure to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? In this way, and Krishna, Balaram serves Krishna in the Shanta Rasa, Dasya Rasa, he massages the lotus feet of Krishna, and Sakya Rasa, he plays with Krishna. Sometimes he carries Krishna on his back, or sometimes Krishna carries Balaram on his back, right? So in this way, Sakya Rasa is also there. And then Vatsalya Rasa, Yashoda Maya always tells Krishna, you are the elder brother, you should always take care of your younger brother, right? In this way, Balaram always used to take care of Krishna, used to ensure that he is in front of Krishna before any kind of harm can befall him. If he is around Krishna, then Yashoda Maya trusts Balaram to take care of Krishna all the time, and Balaram does take care of Krishna all the time, right? Sometimes when he is not able to do anything, he will go and complain to Mother Yashoda also, right? Krishna actually ate mud today. Mother Yashoda, Maya, Krishna ate mud today. So like that, he takes care of Krishna. Why did he go and tell Mother Yashoda? Because he cares for Krishna, right? Like that. And then Madhurya Ras, Balaram actually manifests in the form of Radharani's younger sister, Ananta Manjari. And in this way, she assists in the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. And in this way, she also serves in the Madhurya Ras of the Lord, right? So in all the 5 rasas, Balaram serves the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? I was hearing His Grace Radhisham Prabhu's class in the morning, where he was talking about Krishna is always accompanied by Balaram on one side and Radharani on the other side, right? But they are not so qualified that we can directly assist Radharani in serving Krishna, because we are conditioned. We need the unlimited mercy of Guru Tattva, and Adi Guru is Balaram. By the mercy of Balaram, we engage in the process of devotional service, and then when we are transferred to the internal energy of the Lord, that means we are so focused, we become Raganuga Bhaktas. that our only desire is to please the Lord, serve the Lord, then Radharani will recommend us, and then she will include us in her list of Sakhis. And then we serve the Sakhis, and ultimately we serve Radha Krishna. Right? But Guru Tattva is very important. At this stage of material conditioning, we cannot directly jump and serve Radha and Krishna. We need to follow the instructions of our spiritual master. Srila Prabhupada is the eternal Siksha Guru. Right? He has formed this international state of Krishna consciousness where we can practice how to remember Krishna, how to never forget Krishna in the association of devotees, by studying his books, by doing Archa Vigraha Seva, by having darshan of the deities in the temple, by chanting the association of devotees, by studying Srimad Bhagavatam, right? By doing deity worship at home. In all of these situations, when we train ourselves to always remember Krishna, then by the mercy of our spiritual master, through the mercy of Lord Balarama, who is the original Adi Guru, we will be situated in the platform where we have this propensity to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, where our Bhoga Vritti becomes Seva Vritti, when our desire to enjoy self gratification, when our desire to exploit material nature turns into, which is called lust, turns into love. That means Seva Vritti, always serving according to the instructions of our spiritual master, according to the instructions of given by Prabhupada in his books. We serve Guru and Gauranga, and in that way, we will one day become so pure. Cheto Darpana Marjana happens, and if the heart gets purified, then there is no other desire in the heart except to serve Guru and Gauranga. There is no other desire in the heart except to serve Radha Krishna. At that stage, we will be guided by Srimati Radharani, will be guided by the gopis, right? To actually, then we actually understand our Swarupa Siddha, Swarupa Deha, our constitutional position, and in that way we can serve Radha and Krishna, right? But until we purify ourselves to reach that stage, we need the association and the mercy of a spiritual master, because Krishna is there in our heart. He gives us Matas Priti Jnana Apohanam Cha. But is our heart pure enough to hear the words of the Lord? Right? Most of the times our mind is tricking us. Do this, do that, this will be good for you. And we are simply thinking the voice of the mind to be the voice of the Lord. And then we are just doing whatever our mind tells us. Right? And most of the times the mind is cheating us. The mind is tricking us into doing things which are not at all good for us. Isn't it? So in that way, we simply follow the instructions of Guru Gauranga. Gauranga's instructions are what Guru tells us directly. And we know whether they are pleasing Gauranga by asking our Guru, are you pleased with my seva? Right? So in this way, we can ask our Guru. And in this way, what happens? Guru will ensure that we please Gauranga. Otherwise, we cannot directly please Gauranga Krishna because we don't know what will please them. Right? But if you simply follow the instructions of our Guru Maharaj, instructions of Prabhupada, then we will definitely please Lord Sri Krishna. Jai Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Granth Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Jai. So quickly we will do 2-3 minutes of Harinam Sankirtan. I will request all the devotees to switch on your cameras. We'll see who all have joined us today after 2-3 minutes. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Asyatya Dishadarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nitya Nanda Priya Chaika Bhagavad Gita Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Jaya Gaurani Jaya Jaya Jagannath Jaya Subhadra Jaya Darshan Jai Guru Parampara, Jai Guru Para, Jai Guru Deva, Jai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Now sing this from the Dashavatara Stotra, the appearance of Balarama. Vahati Vapu Shiri Shade Vatanam Jaladharam Kalahati Diti Nividayamunabam Keshavadrita Kaladara Rupa Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Haladhara Rupa Haladhara Rupa Haladhara Rupa Jagadisha Hare Jaya Keshavadrita Haladhara Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Keshavadrita Haladhara Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Namaste Halagraha Namaste Mushalayuda Namaste Revati Kanta Namaste Bhaktavatsala Namaste Dharani Dhara Namaste Balanam Shrestha Pralambare Namaste Stu Ehi Mam Krishna Purvaja. So Namaste Halagraha. Halagraha means one who holds the plow. Namaste Mushalayuda, one who holds the mace. Namaste Revati Kanta, who is husband of Revati. Namaste Bhaktavatsala, one who is the benefactor of all the devotees, one who is protector of all the devotees. And then Namaste Dharani Dhara, one who maintains the entire world. Namaste Balanam Shrestha, Balinam Shrestha. That means the one who is the best of all the strongest people, right? One who is the best of the strong. Pralambare Namaste is the one who actually killed Pralambasura. Ehi Mam Krishna Purvaja, who is the elder brother of Krishna. Namaste, Namaste, Namaste means I offer my respectful obeisances unto Balaram, who killed the Pralambasura demon, who is the strongest of the strong, who is the maintainer, or who's manifesting the entire universe on his back, right? Just as the Anantashesh is lying down below the earth, right? Who's actually maintaining the entire earth, who's carrying the entire earth on himself, right? So in that way, he is the strongest of the strong, and who holds a plow in his hand, and who holds a mace in his hand, and who is the elder brother of Krishna. I pay my respectful obeisances unto Balaramji, also called Dauji, the elder brother of Krishna. Shri Balaram Purnima ki jai, appearance of Lord Balaram ki jai. Today is also the last day of Julian Yatra. If you go to an ISKCON temple, we will have the opportunity to swing their lordships, Shri Radha and Krishna. Hare Krishna. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Itai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. So I am able to see Sridhar Prabhu, Harjit Mataji, Lata Swami Mataji, Sarvagopi Shri Mataji, Sindhu Mataji, Durlabha Mataji, Hari Bol. So yesterday Mataji welcomed very beautiful Gauranta deities to our home. We had wonderful association of Mataji's son-in-law, gave very nice Katha, very nice pastimes. He narrated about how serving the deities is as good as serving the Lord personally. right? So many pastimes, like how Jagannath manifested hair just to have loving reciprocation with his devotee. Like that, so many pastimes. We also know this pastime of Raghunandan Thakur, who was a 5-year-old boy who offered Boga to the Lord, and he wanted the Lord to come and eat, and he was crying. And what happened? His father was also shocked, standing behind the curtain. Oh my God, I have not experienced this in all my years of seva. This little boy has made the Lord come and have the laddu, right? So in this way, when we engage in deity worship, we will have so many loving reciprocations with the Lord, where the Lord will personally reciprocate with us according to our level of surrender. So like that, it was very wonderful and nice Katha, Kirtan and Prasad we had in Mataji's home yesterday. Very wonderful. Mataji's got the opportunity to serve Gaur Nitai Gaur Sundar Bhagavan. All right. So next we also have Shruti Mataji, Rajneesh Prabhu, Mataji, Karpagoli Mataji. Thank you all for joining in. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Bol. Thank you all very much. We'll meet you all tomorrow morning for our Brahma Muhurta chanting session, and tomorrow onwards we will meet at our regular time of 12:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Thank you. We'll continue our chapter 15 of the Bhagavad Gita tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. Hare Krishna.